Yeah.
And then if you're good with like like fucking keyboard chatting, it was like blah 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 blah. So like again,
Yeah, I didn't typo near as much as that as I do with touchscreen.
Yeah, because you knew what you're pushing, and like you could throw up your slang because you're pushing your fucking triple R's or whatever.
Yeah.
Sick V. No.
And it doesn't. In fat fingers doesn't matter on that. Like a touchscreen, touchscreen, you got the fat thumbs. It's just like.
And that was the commercial too. Fat fingers don't matter.
Yeah, well, because
get a black man.
So always the Jed. The Jed. You hear that? The Jed. Whenever I was gonna say J. Whenever I try to hit the J, it always hits the N.
What?
Yeah.
What kind of southern slaw is that?
I'm looking at the thing. Yeah, whenever I hit the J, it goes the N. I don't know. My thumb's just lazy. It doesn't want to go up that high. Like if you look at your keyboard right now, the J is just above the N.
Well, let's hope you never have to call me a jigger for anything.
Man. Is that even a word?
Jigger?
Oh, I guess if you're someone who jigs, right? Who does the jig?
A jigger is a unit of measurement for like alcohol. So
I'm not even gonna say that word just in case I try, because I'll often say
like, all right, like that's a hilarious joke, but like you actually typoing like nigger to me by accident. That's
by accident. Yeah,
that's a hard comeback from.
You'd screenshot that so fast.
I would. I'd post that motherfucker. I'd be like, all right, y'all.
I'd be like, fuck.
Yep. We're splitting up now.
Because it's funny, like, because my mouth moves faster than my mind sometimes, so it'll combine two words together. You ever do that? When you're trying to say a word, like I just right now when I was trying to say J and N, and I said for some reason I said like I said whatever it was, Jed.
Or Jeb instead of like.
I was like, what? Yeah. So that would happen too if I was trying to talk fast. It would be like.
He's just laying the groundwork.
Yeah.
This is never. What do you mean I can't say it? What? Like, damn, you told you my story. That's the ending. I tell you the story, then you repeat the act.
And then I repeat it.
Like you didn't learn anything else. No, we learned nothing. It was Earth all along. We need one of those fucking endings. It's like no.
It was Earth all along.
Where it's like such a mind blown, like, oh my gosh! I can remember, like in the '70s, that was the biggest twist ever.
That's right. Yeah. Well, like
you went to Monkey Planet and Monkey Planet.
Ape Escape. What is wrong with me? I just said like Ape Escape. No, like Planet of the Apes.
You want to say? I get where you at. I get.
My mind is just a piece of shit today.
It's 12:30, and you should have taken the sleep, but you chose to go for the work. Which I commend, but I'm making you work for it.
Yeah, like, that's fine, man. We've been trying to record this episode for.
But that's the hilarious thing. I'm like, how long can I push this guy until he's like, we gotta record.
You fuck. This is our white whale too. Like, when did we finish the hero draft? When did we stop? It was like in the 20s, right? Late 20s, early 30s.
Up there. Actually, I can look. Well, actually, I don't. When did you last put? Because you wouldn't have added it in. It would have been on the tail or something, no?
Yeah, it would have been on the tail or something, so I can't tell. But it was early 30s, because I don't think we did any more after we started doing the Dawn of X stuff.
Well, like that's around the same time we stopped doing hero draft is when we stopped doing segments. Like we stopped doing power and keep six, right? Which is hilarious.
Yeah. Do you want to do keep six today? You got something to keep six about
it? Like probably something dumb.
Yeah, I got keep. But you can. Are we gonna do the intro and stuff, or?
Listen, I wish I did more research on the fucking Yugo. I never remember the fucking rabbit's name, but he's getting a Netflix series.
Usagi Yojimbo.
Correct. So maybe if I watch a trailer, I'll have some keepsakes on it. But I don't even feel strong enough to be like, that it's good. Oh yeah. Because that is something that I'm fucking totally excited about.
Yeah. Are you gonna give us the intro too, or are we just gonna do the keepsakes?
Always intro. What are you talking about?
Or like do we do the keepsakes before the intro? Is that the idea now? Since we're changing things up on the fly?
I don't give a fuck. Just know all the little intros we have, they're either getting better or they're the same, but we're always going to keep having those little things, right? Like those are those fucking polishes that make us lethal. Well, you're not recording. What are we doing?
Yeah, am I not recording?
I'm still trying to filibuster you. I'm trying to get you to like 2:30.
No, it's still recording, man.
We've been recording? Mine doesn't say recording at all.
Yeah, it says recording in there.
Ah.
Does it now?
keep 6. What time is it? I was looking at the chat box, not the Zoom window.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to do the back at it again, but that's.
Well, listen, this is the whole other podcast that we're not releasing yet.
Do you want to do keep 6 and then that, or do you want? We're creating this on the fly. I might cut this out. I might leave it in.
If you got a 6, I don't have a 6, and I was all honest about the 6 I don't have, so that's all up there.
No, I have a 6. Yeah, Batman and the Outlaws, or the Outsiders.
6. It's okay. So this is gonna be the unused episode.
I am fucked right up.
This is gonna be the unused episode.
No, Batman and the Outsiders, man. The
6. Well, yo, what time is it, man?
Oh, it's 6 o'clock.
What time is it?
It's 6 o'clock.
6. It's time to keep 6. It's been a lot of 6. So I hope this 6 is a real good.
Yeah, but
6.
Batman and the Outsiders, written by Brian Hill and art by Dexter Soy. It's great, man. It's a cool. That's all I gotta say.
It was a hot 6, yo.
Well, it's great because the team's cool, right? Batman, Katana, Black Lightning, Signal, and Orphan.
It's an interesting team.
It's a really interesting team. It's a sick team. And then they introduce a new character in it as well. And, you know, Lady Shiva's in it as well. And they're up against Ra's al Ghul. But it's sick. It's really good. It just came out that it's going to be canceled in October, but, you know.
That's how exclusive it is.
Well, it's about 14 issues deep now at the time of this recording.
Right.
So we got a few more. But no, it's really good. Worth a look.
Checking out.
6 on that. Yeah.
Artwork.
Yeah, artwork's sick, man. Artwork's really sick. Writing, Brian Hill is awesome. He's awesome in this. Which is funny because I thought this is why I thought he would do well on Fallen Angels.
Ooh.
Not quite the same. This is much better than that.
And if you haven't heard our Hawks Pox Docs Side Pox episode where we talk about X-Men, we definitely talk about. I think we're gonna have to do something specific for Fallen Angel. There's too much in there for us not to really go at it.
Yeah, we can. I mean, it's done, right? But we can.
Yeah, and that definitely helps us review it faster. Oh, Cable.
yeah, I know.
Back at it again, like we never left. Coke and Dank, Dank and Coke. This is the Lethal Weapons.
Hey, Dank.
Hey, Coke.
What borders on insanity?
What borders on insanity?
Canada and Mexico.
Shots fired. 2020 podcast.
Yeah,
special episode.
That has nothing to do with the X-Men, but
no, but it kind of has everything to do with the X-Men.
Exactly.
You're definitely gonna get some mutants out of this motherfucker. God damn. Yeah. Good lord.
You could say the two finalists have at certain points bordered on insanity themselves as well.
Yes. I mean, if you have to keep explaining the joke, then I'm gonna say it's not funny.
Listen, fuck.
You want to fight? You want to fight?
That's the real segue.
You want to fight about it? Yeah, I do. We've made it.
We finally made it, everybody.
We made it to the finals.
Everybody, all three of you, who, if you've been listening since the very beginning, then you'll know that we started something called Heroes from a Hat, or Hero Draft. And it was when it was a Marvel edition, and we take two Marvel heroes and kind of play out a scenario where they would be fighting or in some sort of competition.
We did our verses. We did our brackets.
That's right. We have brackets.
There can only be one winner in the Marvel universe of the best fighter.
We had 32 to start with, right?
Correct.
And we've got it down to just the last two.
Yeah, and we had some interesting rounds. And,
really interesting stuff, yeah.
Some crazy matchups that we weren't expecting to happen. And the fun of the draft is we don't get to choose who we're going to be repping. We literally pull out of a hat, and whoever we get is who we got roll with. And I remember losing some battles I didn't want to lose. So
that's right. Yeah, there was a couple times that we swapped our like favorite guys. I think at one point I got Iceman and you got somebody else or something or other. It was some like we. Anyways, we there was some interesting scenarios we pulled out, but yeah, we didn't know we were grabbing.
Dave Cope.
It was fun.
We're to be on the ball, but we finally made it to the finals.
The finals, yeah, and I know the semifinals ended about like months ago. We finally. I mean, we wanted to.
Time is a man-made construct. I'm always gonna throw that out there.
Absolutely, no, it is though. But we got the finalists. We wanted to give their own episode.
But I'm trying to pull up the list here because the route to the finals was an amazing matchups, and I feel like we have to do that justice and give our finalists their highlight reel to get to the finals.
Well, do you want to say who the finalists are, or are you just going to give them intro first? Like,
I want to get the intros. I mean, people should know because clearly they've been listening for so long.
Well, it's in the title too.
They've been on batted ear. No, give them the intro. I'm still trying to look for the fucking sheet that says. And then they kick this person's ass.
Yo, I got mine. So after defeating Hercules, listen, here we go. I'm bringing it up. So defeating Hercules in a scrap in round 1, defeating Wonder Man on a horseback race in round 2, defeating Iron Man in a game of horse in round 3, and defeating Silver Surfer in Pictionary in round 4.
That would hurt a lot, by the way.
Yeah.
That would hurt a lot, yeah.
I know.
That would hurt a lot. It hurt a lot, but it made so much sense.
Yeah, it did.
And is
Psylocke.
We have Psylocke.
Hailing all the way from the UK.
We have Psylocke in the final.
Betsy Braddock, a.k.a. Psylocke. Well, not anymore, but, you know.
We'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
What a road to the finals.
Yeah, wild ride. And it gets crazy. And if they sound silly, the horseback race and the game of horse and this picture, we did that on purpose.
And what do you explain this shit for? By this point, they know what's going on. And
no, they don't. I don't think anybody even remembers this.
Well, too bad. One of the finalists deserves to be the finals. Mm-hmm. If you do me the honor of giving me the second finalist, that'd be great because I'm still trying to pull up.
You trying to pull up her rounds? I can't tell.
we bear the lead. Yes, sir. In the first round, she defeated Daredevil.
That's right, in a scrap. First round is just scraps.
In an easy beat 'em up. In the second round, a hot dog eating contest. She destroyed Moonstone. In the third round, hand-to-hand armed combat, known as wrestling. She Wally mopped Captain Marvel.
It's a good word, Wally mop.
And now she's made it to the finals. In a commanding way, we're talking about Rogue. So unplanned too, the fact that we're doing a whole separate X-Men podcast, the fact that we got a X-Men finals.
That's pretty cool, man.
That's super awesome and just kind of shows to like how they've been written and their power set up until this point. Because these women are kind of deep cuts when you talk about the X-Men universe.
Very deep cuts, yeah, very deep. Well, especially Psylocke is Rogue is a '90s gem.
Shots fired already, huh? Trying to.
No. I'm just saying. I'm deep cuts in the terms that she's not as well known. I'd imagine. I remember when we used to watch the '90s animated series.
Right.
Psylocke wasn't even in it, right? So I'd see her in comics and stuff, and I'd be like, "Who is that?"
And then you could say that, but that just like puts it onto how you got into X-Men because we came in through the '90s cartoon.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, of course we did.
But we have there's all the purists that came in through the comic book. And
yeah.
Psylocke's always been a big player in that, especially when you factor in if Professor X is really all about the mind, and they've always played Jean Grey as going to be the successor. Yep. The fact that Psylocke was such a cool spin on basically the same concept.
Yeah, well, what always attracted me to her was the mark on her eye. Yeah. The Crimson Dawn mark, which we'll get into. Like that, I was like, that's so. I always like the off kilter things, like when the asymmetry when they don't match. I was like, oh, just one eye has that? That's pretty sick.
Well, if you're talking about asymmetrical, you definitely got to talk about how distinct Rogue has always been drawn. Yep. They've given her that streak, and that's always set her apart from any other kind of redhead character And even her comment, we'll get into that even deeper, but like just the fact that she was never really a team player, and the fact that all of them were usually decked out in blue and yellows. She was coming in with green.
Yeah, that's right, green and browns.
So, I mean, again, the strength, these are very distinct characters who have such deep backstories, present stories, and now as we're reading future stories.
Yeah.
That this finals is probably the best we could have hoped for. I mean,
yeah, we were really excited. Like, I don't know, I was super pleased that we got a finals of two people that I don't know if
they don't get enough justice that they're due.
Yes, there you go.
They're both major players and never are really treated like major players. Although I could argue that Rogue is more of a major player than Psylocke, but I mean, we'll get to that. Yep. But these two definitely hold their weight on the team and could easily own their own individual properties and like comic runs. And as we're reading now with the whole Hoxpox docs, they're basically taking over whatever run that they're in because they have kind of the best story moving forward.
Yeah.
I don't know if you equate that to their backstory, their power set, or just the foundation of them in X-Men. It's been awesome, right? So like this gave us both a chance to like check up on these women.
Yeah.
Why they're such badasses. So you say we were excited for this episode. We're still excited for this episode. We're excited to finally be doing this episode because it's long overdue.
Long time coming. And first thing you can notice about these women is that they're both extremely powerful.
Yes.
And they're both very fucking damaged too.
Fractured individuals for different reasons too. Yeah.
For very different reasons, but yeah, very powerful beings, both damaged, both with convoluted, well, especially Betsy, convoluted backstories.
Well, I mean,
kind of been all over the place.
Same with Anna Marie. I mean, the second you touch somebody, you get all of their shit.
Oh yeah, no, that for sure. But I just meant in comics lore and stuff, like the way that writers have chosen to take with them is
always been insane.
Yeah, it's been some weird.
So where do we go? Where do we dive in with these?
I was just thinking that like there's so much to talk about, but do you give some backstory first, or do you want to?
Sure, yeah. Let's do like a little brief of where they're from, kind of thing, right?
All right, tell me about Anne Marie.
Oh, okay. So she's a Mississippi-born Southern belle, which is awesome. That always lends itself to how you would read her in the comics, and obviously who got to voice her in animated series. Because I like her 90s X-Men voice is like my definitive version of Rogue.
Do you still hear when you read her in books?
Yeah, I do. I read
it.
So
do I.
And credit to some writers, they'll give her some of those kind of like tones and verbiage that like you can hear it more because she's saying things that are from the South. I was gonna make a joke about the movies, but let's stay as far away from Rogue and Psylocke in the movies because
God, they've yes, please, let's stay away from both of them.
So early on in her life, around her teens, she noticed that when she touched other people, she would essentially suck the life out of them and leave a lot of them unconscious. Low to become that Rogue's greatest power set is her power of touch, and that kind of like led her to a completely different life off the bat, right? Like she was like a happy teen, but very quickly turned into a runaway freak, and carried a lot of grief in some backstories. Like she had a death in the family, so obviously you'll take that on more, and then an abusive father, so like that hits differently as well.
Yeah.
And again, a credit to her name, she was always the rogue, right? She was always the one that couldn't fit in and fit out. So teenagers already feel like that. The fact that you add this crazy power set that you absorb and like just take in all of their, I want to say identity for lack of better words. It's just like their whole like brain matter, right?
Yeah, and their essence or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, and when we get deeper into it, we'll see how like that's truly affected Rogue and who she's become. But early on in her life, she was just basically a runaway scared girl with way more power than she knew what to do with.
Yeah, that's which is crazy because it's like we talk about how similar they are in aspects of their power levels and how damaged they are, but their backstories couldn't be more different.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Like it's like because Betsy grew up in it, like, for lack of a better term, or not lack of a better term, but for all intents and purposes, a healthy family.
Right.
Right. She's a twin. So she's the older twin of her and Brian. Older. Then they have an older brother named Jamie, who we know all about, who's Omega level. But her and her twin Brian were born in England.
Right.
Essex in England, and her first appearance in the comic books is Captain Britain #8 in 1976. So Chris Claremont created her. That's in the UK, and then her first appearance in US market would be New Mutants Annual #2 in 1986. So 10 years later, over here. But her father was originally from Otherworld, but sent to Earth by Merlin to father the new champion of the world, which would end up being Brian, or Captain Britain, right?
Right.
And all three of his children had latent powers passed on to them. So Jamie, Betsy, and Brian. Although Betsy and Jamie are mutants and Brian is not. He's just like the chosen one for Captain Britain, right?
There's already another weird dynamic that family tree has.
Yeah. You'd think that the twins would have the mutant gene together, but they do not. And she became, earlier on, before her powers even manifested, she became a charter pilot and a supermodel. Her powers didn't actually manifest until there was an accident while she was flying, and she kind of started getting like precognition and some sort of like psychic abilities.
Right.
And that led her into Shield's British offshoot called Strike.
So she went straight for into the good guys fold as soon as possible.
Yep. And she began, went right to the good guys fold, because they actually Strike Force actually approached Captain Britain first. And he's like, no, I don't want to be part of a government issue. I'll do my own thing. So then they approached her, and she's like, yeah, I'll join up. She wanted to
I'll
matter.
Take
right?
Floppy seconds.
Exactly. But yeah, that's I don't know how much more you want me to give, but that's
a great opportunity to pass the puck over to me. Because if you talk about how she developed her power set and knew that she was wanting to be good with it, complete 180 for Rogue, who, as she figured out that her flirtation and kind of her touch would now steal memories from other people, she started having to dressing differently, which was usually to, I guess, the artist's credit, like skin tight outfits that would kind of block any portion of her skin to touch anything else. She started wearing gloves a lot more. But the way she really harnessed and learned about her powers was linking up with the probably worst team that you could probably link up with the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Yeah, and Mystique became her surrogate mom and kind of broke around some street shit. She learned a different side of the rule book, I guess, and figured out there's another way to play kind of this game as a mutant and factor in how you view yourself as a mutant. Because even as bad as Brotherhood of Evil Mutants are, Mystique has always been kind of the mindset of I'm powerful, I'm strong, I'm independent kind of mindset. She's always been the anti-hero, even working bad, even working good.
Right.
So the fact that the connection there was mother-daughter. Rogue still got a lot of good information, but unfortunately how she became true Rogue was by zapping Miss Marvel, Carol Danvers' energy to the point that put her into a coma and gave Rogue Miss Marvel's entire power set, right? And then that's when a different type of Rogue made it into the comic books and kind of cartoon lore.
So she didn't end up killing. I always thought when I was a kid that she actually killed Carol, but she didn't actually kill her, right?
No, she combed her out, and depending on if you watch the cartoon show, they always had a little nod to that and her visiting her. Because
I love that.
Carol Danvers was Jane Doe. In the comics, obviously nobody really dies, and they just found a way to bring back Carol Danvers and then another Captain Marvel. But her incredible strength, her near invulnerability, the power of flight, and even a small form of ESP became Rogue's calling cards, and ultimately made her one of the premier players in Marvel, at least the X-Men universe. The only flip to that was once she did what she did, she finally grew a conscience and separated herself from the Brotherhood of Mutants, broke kind of the connection with Mystique, and felt super guilty for what she did to this woman, right?
Yeah.
And really cool because you would join up with the X-Men.
Which is really cool because you have like this girl now with such power, because Captain Marvel's, or she was Miss Marvel back then, is like her power set's crazy, right? But she can't touch anybody.
Nope.
It's such a cool quote unquote Superman where, you know, she's so powerful but she can't do one simple thing, and that's touch, which I always thought so interesting about her.
Yeah, it gave it like a completely different dynamic, something that was so not about heroes and villains. It was just like her personal life is completely different. Like she's constantly alone and learning how to like deal with that and what that means. Obviously, if you want to talk about allies, Gambit was one of her biggest allies, someone that was always pushing that boundary. And anyone that's seen Batman and Robin knows Gambit was the man. If he discovered, rubber lips.
That's right.
Rubber lips.
That's right. Rubber lips would have saved him so many times.
He could have been the human condom.
So at the same time, Pussy's gonna get you killed with that one. So.
Huh? Is that what's happening with Betsy and Brian?
No, well, you were saying that. No, I was waiting to get the puck back, because you were saying Rogue goes through such a big evolution when she drains Miss Marvel of her power as well.
Right.
But he also obviously goes through a massive evolution when she ends up taking the mantle of Captain Britain once, like for the first time.
Right.
And she goes up against some of his villains, Vixen and Slaymaster, and she ends up getting blinded by Slaymaster, just gets dummied by Slaymaster. And she ends up in Switzerland to kind of recuperate. While there, she's kidnapped by Mojo.
That guy always fucks with everybody.
Yeah, he just shows up and just, I'm just gonna fuck with you. So Mojo and Spiral kidnap her and give her new artificial eyes.
Right.
And when she's eventually rescued by the New Mutants, but when she is, that's who coins her name. Mojo and Spiral end up coining her name as Psylocke.
It was awesome.
Yeah, which is sick. So she has that code name Psylocke.
That doesn't stem from anything, right? Like Rogue, obviously, because she's a wanderer and kind of keeps her own self. Like Psylocke doesn't mean something in a.
Well, it's her because of her psychic abilities.
Okay.
Right, I think it's a sweet name. So is Rogue. They're both sick names, but anyways, so she kind of joins up with the New Mutants rescue her. She joins up with the X-Men ship, but she's not really part of the team until she ends up fighting. I use the term fighting loosely. She evades Sabretooth for a while,
right,
and distracts him because they have a whole infirmary full of hurt mutants, and he shows up while the X-Men are out, and she keeps him busy until Wolverine shows up. She gets body armor and whatnot before, because she has very low fighting skills at this point. She's just a pure telepath, so she ends up getting body armor and things like that, up until the incident with Reavers. Mm-hmm. She has this is where the big evolution happens, and everybody who knows Psylocke knows about the body swap, right? So while they're freeing,
super crazy,
which is really crazy at the time, and we'll get into it after. But so while fleeing from the Reavers, she has a precognition that, that everybody's going to die. So she goes, okay, we got to go through the Siege Perilous, which is presented as a teleportation device that basically grants any person a new chance at life and takes them where they should be.
Right.
It ends up leaving her, giving her amnesia and ending her, dropping her out in Asia, besides China. So she's kidnapped by a crime lord named Matsuo Surayaba, who is trying to save the life of his lover, an assassin, a brain-dead assassin from Quantum. So they mind switch the bodies, and the process is complicated, and they end up splicing the people in two. If that makes sense, and they share.
Well, nothing makes sense in comic.
No, it's a bizarre. It's a bizarre process, and it goes a little awry, but their minds are melded together as well as their abilities in both bodies, but they're different people. And she was brainwashed at that point, and handed over to the Mandarin, where she became the Lady Mandarin for a time before once again gaining free will and joining back with the X-Men after facing off Wolverine. So she retains the fighting abilities from the Quanten's assassin body, because now she's in the Asian assassin body.
Right.
And also that's where she develops the psychic knife ability.
Which is awesome. Like all the
which is sick.
Blade, yeah. That was more the 90s run of her.
Yeah, so but it's such a weird, and it's funny because when you go back and read old issues, and I'm not quite 100% clear on this, but there was, when they changed over writers, she was actually supposed to come back. Betsy was supposed to come back in her real body, but the writer that they switched to, I can't remember his name now, but the writer they switched to, he didn't read the last issue before he started writing, so he missed. There's a scene near the end where she actually comes back in her old body, and he didn't see that, so he kind of ignores it. So he doesn't. So it proceeds with the body swap rather than then it was revealed that it would never happen. You know what I mean?
I mean, you say there's not parallels, but there's a lot of parallels, which is funny because as you're saying your stuff, all the stuff is hitting off for me. Rogue had a couple issues where she was battling with her own personality, and essentially she was losing Carol Danvers, Miss Marvel's power set, and she had to battle this different incarnation of Miss Marvel in the Savage Land. So how all that shit's really fucked up, and it turned out that it was Shadow King that was really continuing the battle and fucking with Rogue's mind. But going on to switching bodies and just power sets, Rogue has lost powers from Miss Marvel and then went to go find Wonder Man and then drain all his motherfucking powers, which is hilarious. And basically they're
I bet you love that.
Yeah, I do love that because Wonder Man's useless. So the fact that they gave it to somebody who you can actually write better stories with. But the amount of people that Rogue has stolen powers from, Nimrod, Juggernaut, Colossus, Apocalypse, Magneto, she's always been around the big players and not considered a big player. But in a lot of issues I've read, they're usually the one that they call her she's the SWAT.
Oh yeah, sick.
Anytime Juggernaut came through, it would be Rogue kind of leading that charge, if not Colossus, right? So it's also weird how there's a distinct connection between Rogue and Mystique. And ultimately, I think that's Rogue's greatest rival. But you say Psylocke and Sabretooth are also great rivals. It's just, it's amazing that Mystique and Sabretooth have done so much together, but we haven't had more runs of Psylocke and Rogue teaming up.
No, I know.
Because their power set, I think, really complements each other. One, because there's the psychic and obviously kind of the ground heavy, the power set. But a lot of their villains, there's a lot of close relations. I'm pretty sure Rogue had a whole run with Lady Deathstrike as well, right? So there's that's why you love comics, right? You end up finding these combinations that you never think were gonna happen.
Yeah.
But as we did the research for this, to let alone get Psylocke and Rogue in the finals, but the fact that they started off so far apart, but there's so much overlap between everything they've done once they kind of hit the mainstream. When I say mainstream, I mean the X-Men team, right? It's crazy.
Yeah, and her when I say her, I mean Betsy's relationship with Sabretooth goes deeper than just that. They meet several times afterwards, and it's interesting. And you talk about the crossovers too, and Psylocke and Rogue were both part of the Blue Team,
right?
As well, right? So it's which is cool because I think I like the Blue Team better than the Gold Team myself.
Gold Team's dope though. You can't.
Gold Team's. I think Gold Team. No, well, the Gold Team's. I think a
Blue Team just has more of the heavy hitter, your favorites.
Yeah, exactly. I think the Gold Team's a better, a stronger team. It's got more power, but the Blue Team.
Gold Team gets more shit done, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. Well, they got the
Blue Team's doing more missions.
Yeah, exactly.
They need 20 and Jubilee's on it for whatever.
And Jubilee, so they lose a point for that.
What is it? Let's get it for the people. I think Blue Team's Cyclops, Wolverine, Rogue, Psylocke, Gambit, Jubilee, Beast.
Yes.
And on Gold Team, it's Storm, Jean Grey, Iceman, Bishop, Angel, Archangel, depending on which one you run with.
Yeah.
But again, very heavy lineups.
Yeah,
obviously changed several times. Like I'm quoting the 90s, right?
Yeah, this is 91. Yeah,
that boy, you have to give me all the complete works of blue teams and gold teams because those have been some amazing runs as well.
You should do one like that, hey? Gold team and blue team episode.
I mean, yeah, that's a good picking one side or another side.
That'd be sick. Actually, we should do that.
If you want to talk about, I guess, solo runs or like great stories, Rogue had a great solo run. Forgive me if I don't pull up the name in time. What was this one called again?
The Legacy?
Was it like it was the 4-issue one where it was really less about kind of power set, and that's the great way that you can write Rogue because she is a Superman. You can really play into the fact that she's like super alone and kind of lonely, and like she's constantly a wanderer. She'll never really fit in because of how hard it is for her to attach herself to anybody else.
Right.
So this specific run really talks about like her kind of, it's funny. It's kind of like an Incredible Hulk moving from town to town. She just kind of ends up in this town and like meets this guy and kind of saves his life. And as he tries to get closer, she only ends up hurting him. So like she's constantly always trying to deal with those demons. And a credit to her evolution, the more kind of, I don't want to say evil people that she's met, but the more challenges she's had to face, the more she's had to step up her power set. And now she's really in tune with, she can control what she takes from people and how long the duration of the power she can absorb from other people.
Which is crazy. That's scary.
Yeah, like I don't know how they rank it or like how you can move up, but like she seems like she's on her way to becoming an Omega level mutant with this kind of understanding, like the mental capacity that it takes to like learn how to fucking absorb and what to absorb is fucking phenomenal, especially for this type of character.
Yeah, I think.
Sorry, go.
No, for the Omega level, I think we read. I remember when we started the Dawn of X run, like the House of X and Powers of 10. When the way Jonathan Hickman wrote it, I believe I could be getting it wrong, is Omega level because he listed all them. They list all the known Omegas in the Marvel universe, and I don't think Rogue was on it, but you're probably right in a sense because I think it's Omega level is not like how powerful you are. It's how powerful you are in your given mutant
in your set. Yeah, like Iceman is fucking
elemental
Omega
set.
with ice level powers, right? He knows how to do everything with that shit, which is nuts.
Right. So it's almost like Psylocke's a similar thing where she's near Omega, but you still have Jean Grey and Professor X who have a stronger.
Yeah, her fucking like her class, for lack of a better word, or
packed.
Yeah, it's like deep. Like her freshman class is fucking deep, right?
It's
like
deep,
you have to wait a while before you get her mixtape. Like she's gonna have dope mixtapes, but she's not the first dude that you're gonna be listening to.
What's cool about her is that she has a psychic ability, but that she has this crazy fighting ability as well. At least when she was in her assassin form, right? So
which is another great flip parallel between Rogue and Psylocke, because Psylocke has easily depended on the hand-to-hand and had that for most of her kind of run. But only up until recently that they started giving her a whole mental side where she needs to start developing that more.
Yep.
And as you're saying with Psylocke, it's the complete reverse, right?
Yeah, and you were talking about how I almost called her Betsy. Anne-Marie was losing; she'd lose some powers, right?
Right.
Some Catherine. So Betsy has had the same thing. She's lost and gained powers so many times over her history. Like when they housed. I say the X-Men housed Sabretooth for a while at the X Mansion, and while he kind of baited Boom Boom of all people to let him out by accident.
Boom Boom would do that. Boom Boom's perfect person to do that.
Yeah, she was a little more timid back then, but he was just ripping at her, so she tried to blow him up.
But they always write her as like a fire starter. Like she's a troublemaker, doesn't know she's a troublemaker.
Yeah,
until she knows she's a troublemaker, and then it's
so Psylocke came in. Psylocke came in to defend her. But she had the upper hand against Sabretooth, but when she tried to side blade his head, half his brain was already gone, so it didn't do anything, and he just worked her, like almost killed her. And so when she bring her back, she entered the Crimson Dawn dimension. That's where she got the eye, the red lightning bolt over her eye or whatever it was. And she actually gained the ability to like shadow walk, so she would be able to teleport through shadows. I'm like, what? That's a sick power. Like it's crazy. Yeah. Like especially
on top of everything else you already have, right?
Yeah. This is back when her and Angel just after they got together. and they Crimson Dawn is it's a 4-part series. It's a little weird, but it details how she gets this power and how she becomes more cold, because Betsy from her original writing was actually very friendly and not kind of bubbly and stuff. When the body switch and the body swap and then the Crimson Dawn thing makes her more cold and distant, and Angel bitches about that, and rightfully so. If he's used to being some way and they just switch up on him, it makes sense. But it's part of why they break up in the end. And she gets the power to jump through the shadows as well, and then she loses some of her telepathy when she imprisons the Shadow King of all people. Shoutouts to Shadow King and Rogue.
Yeah, Shadow King taking over everything. Yeah.
She gives up her. She has to imprison the Shadow King in like mental in the mental realm or whatever.
Right.
And she has to give up her power, her telepathy, to keep him imprisoned. So Jean Grey tries to help her regain her lost telepathy, but instead gives her telekinesis. So now she's got a completely different power set than what she had when she first started, right? She was telepathic. Now she's telekinetic, can jump through shadows, and a trained assassin with the Psy blade and shit. So it's like, and that doesn't stop there, right? It kind of keeps coming.
Yeah, it keeps going. Yeah, just add to her mythos.
She loses the shadow jump ability in some way, and now she's more psychic again, and it's crazy. In her run on, excuse me, she dies for a while, for a couple of years, when she's killed by Vargas, who's, you don't get into him, but he's killed by Vargas.
It's not a Vargas podcast. We want to talk about Betsy.
No, fuck Vargas. But while she joins Storm's team to look for diaries of destiny, as we all know from our how important she is in the Dawn of X storyline. Yeah, she dies, and she comes back years later by Jamie. He just wills her back into existence, so she reappears.
Sounds pretty comic to me.
Yeah, but she leaves the X-Men and joins the Exiles, and while she's in the Exiles, she meets up with a different. Because the Exiles jump. For anybody who doesn't know, Exiles jump around through different dimensions and different worlds.
They're the sliders.
Yeah, the sliders, exactly. She ends up meeting up with a Sabretooth, who's part of the Exiles from a different, I can't remember from which Earth.
Yeah, different timeline. Yeah, it was awesome.
And they end up, like, she hates him.
That run of Exiles, right? Like, he's toned down.
Yeah, he's completely different. So she hates him from jump because of all the history they have together.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's a different guy, and they end up actually becoming an item for a while, which is the guy who almost kills you.
Because comics.
Because comics, right?
Well, you say because comics, but like one of the fun reads that I had, like maybe the writing was kind of not the best, especially with a character like Rogue, but they found ways to like really utilize her, was X-Men versus Avengers, or Avengers versus X-Men. Yep. Because you get these great matchups in the beginning, right? It's super superficial with literally X-Men facing off with Avengers in different settings. But it gets broken down a little more when kind of Rogue gets assimilated and she has to like battle Miss Marvel, but they're doing it on like their mind plane. So already they kind of, after Rogue's already dummied how many superheroes, they find another way to add another level to it. And it's not until like magic helps break her free that they notice that Rogue's not even on Earth anymore. Like they gave her this whole completely different one where she's on an alien planet.
Oh, really? I didn't know.
Yeah, she's got to fight with like this crazy like alien queen who's trying to assimilate her. So like, and like the swarm, like they do it turns into like such this weird twist, but it's so great because she's in the center of it.
Yeah.
And her power set obviously really suits herself to like fighting off swarms of insects. But like it ends up obviously her getting back to Earth, but that's the same run where they got the Phoenix Force. So like Cyclops and like I think is it Colossus too? Like I can't remember the members.
Oh, the 5 of them, yeah.
Yeah. Like that was the crazy run for that. Yeah. But the low-key B story was when like Magneto proposed to Rogue at the end of it, and she says yes. So like it was like they've always given Rogue like all these crazy things to like adapt to, but she's always been the best player in those situations.
Yeah.
Like it made Avengers versus X-Men that much more fun because I just thought it was going to be basically like a civil war, but like more specific to just these guys.
Yeah.
And they turned it into something completely different. And then of course, Pussy's going to get Magneto killed. But he's like number 2 of like I don't give a fuck. Like he's really into Rogue in a lot of different runs too.
Yeah.
I think Age of X, like they hook up, and there's like another one, but like they really like that dynamic of Magneto and his power, like his powerful self, and like Rogue with just like he sees something in her, which is amazing, right? But like she always has to like really wake up to the fact that like she can't spend a lot of time with this dude because it's fucking Magneto.
That's Magneto, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how much are you willing to like give into these impulses, right?
Yeah, and Psylocke's never really had like a significant other. They've always kind of used Captain Britain as that kind of like pairing, that brother sister.
Psylocke?
Yeah, for Psylocke's end. That's what
Angel,
I'm saying. Like she's never had really like big hookup kind of things. Like that was never her. She was always about like the duty or kind of.
Yeah, for her. Yeah, I mean, her and Psylocke have been, or her and Angel have been together twice. Neither time worked, but the second time they get together in the Uncanny X-Force is one of my favorite fucking runs ever in comics. Like I love that. That run's awesome, man. It's so good. But she's with Angel then. He's Archangel then. But
this is when they're X-Force, right?
Yeah, this is the Uncanny X-Force.
Okay.
Yeah. This is the first run. It was the Rick Remender run from 2012, 2011, I think. It was amazing. It was like 35 issues. I have every one of them single issued here, and it's fucking. I love it. The Dark Angel saga. We gotta do something on that. That's a crazy run.
But I remember that. We gotta do that.
Yeah, yeah. That was sick. There was also a solo run that she had, just called Psylocke, and she's compelled to find Maxwell, the guy who did the body swap with her years before. She ends up, make a long story short, I'll spoil it and everything because it's so old, but she ends up finding him and he's dying, and he's the one who reached out to her to have her kill him because he's being tortured. It's like, but by who? And it turns out Wolverine's got him. So Wolverine's actually near killing him and then letting him come back to health, and then doing it again and again because Maxwell is the one who killed his old lover, like Mariko, right? So it's like and then so Psylocke and Wolverine fight it out because she's like, this is fucked up. Like, you can't be doing this. As much of a piece of shit this guy is, like, I want to kill him because this is messed up. And they actually get into a fight, and it's a good scrap, but
not good enough.
No, Wolverine just kind of gives up. He's just kind of like, you know what, fuck it, fine, you have him. So like that's how it ends. It's like, oh, okay. Oh, that's it. All right, well.
Moving on
then. But she hasn't, like, she's had a couple runs based on her, but she's always in team up books. As far like she has there's the Crimson Dawn book, there's the Psylocke book, there's the Sisterhood book and stuff like that. But she's always,
that's the majority of the same for Rogue. She's had a couple solo runs, but she's mostly in team up books, and I think that's more of a strength to those characters separately because they're so good. Just dropped in, they're great. Just like, what happens now if we drop this character in this type of situation? Because they understood their power set and their fighting styles, they can do so much with it.
Yeah, that's right. Well, and if we're talking about now as well, a couple of years back, she actually gets her old body back.
Well, she's gonna need it.
Yeah, she gets it back. So the Mystery of Mandrapore #4, it was during the search for Wolverine. Kitty Pryde, now known as Kate Pryde, forms a group to locate Wolverine's missing body, and they are suspecting Magneto of taking it. So this leads them to Madripoor, where they face off against the Femme Fatales and a psychic vampire named Sapphire 6, who absorbs Betsy's soul and leaves her body dead and cold. So basically kills her. But she's brought back into her original body that she remade molecule by molecule after destroying Sapphire from the inside out. At long last, back in her British form. And then her old body reanimates as Quantum, leaving her with a Psylocke mantle. So Betsy's not even called Psylocke anymore. Now it's Quantum, who was Revanche at one time, who came back in Betsy's white girl body. I don't know this, and then died of the legacy.
So who am I fighting then? Who's Rogue fighting? Quan Yin or Psylocke? What's going on here?
Yeah, that's
because we got to get to round 1.
Both.
No,
I'm just kidding. No, she'll be she'll be fight. Well, it depends, right? Because we get like we said, we got the different rounds here.
Yeah, so we're going straight to round 1 because you're now don't know which Psylocke showing up, but I know which Rogue's coming to the Savage Land fight. And essentially, we're just saying that there's no powers here. It's literally a hand-to-hand combat for round 1 to see who's gonna take home this first medal.
Yeah, do you want to do present day, or how did you want to do this? Because whatever Rogue you choose, I'll just match it or whatever.
Well, based on round 2, I'm taking current day Rogue because I know current day Rogue knows how to throw down.
Okay.
She's been throwing down since she was a kid, or at least since she hooked up with Brotherhoods of Mutant, and she knows how to fight with a stronger power set, but that only increases how she knows how to throw a punch. So I don't think Psylocke's going to make it out of round 1 if we're saying it's a Savage Land fight and there's no...
If it's a Savage Land fight, then Rogue's had no power.
Correct, but she knows how to fight.
Right, but if she's fighting... like I guess this is why you asked which Psylocke is coming, right? Because if it's Ninja Assassin Psylocke, she doesn't stand a chance, in my opinion. Because trained assassin, right, with the hand and all that shit, like she can't touch that.
Which Psylocke is showing up?
Well, we'll do that one because of round 2 and 3 are. So we'll do the 90s versions, or whatever version you want to do. So I'll do the 90s Psylocke. So that's the Ninja Assassin Psylocke.
Trained assassin, great, but Rogue has been fighting as an X-Men for the entire run as an X-Men. So yeah, even without the powers, her fighting sense, her muscle mass, her reactional time is all to throwing like punches to take out people, kicks to take out people, headbutts to take out people. I don't think you lose that mentality. Like she's a UFC trained fighter at this point.
Sure, no.
So you taking away flying, cool, but I don't think
flying and taking away flying and her strength, because she's used to throwing fists like lightly and people go flying. She can't do that now. She's got to adjust to that. Psylocke's been fighting as a trained ninja assassin.
You think it's gonna take long for Rogue to throw a hard punch when she knows she has to throw a hard punch?
No, but she's not gonna be able to hit Betsy. Girl's a ninja, man.
Okay.
Jumping around, doing flips and shit. It's like street fighting versus ninjutsu, right?
Is it?
Yeah.
That's your comparison?
That's my comparison, yeah. That's the way I see it. Because you just take away the powers, leave them bare bones fighting skills.
Well, so if we're taking away fighting skills,
no, not fighting skills.
You're not a trained assassin. You're just a smaller, weaker girl than Rogue, who's stronger than you, and will punch you in your face.
If we're talking about first iterations, yeah. But once the body swap happened, once she trained with the hand and shit like that, she became adept at fighting with or without powers, because her powers don't have any bearing on the fighting except for the psychic blade, right? So whereas Rogue's her powers are all about fighting. Well, her gain powers from Ms. Marvel.
Correct. She gained powers, but her fighting sense has increased as she has more fights under her belt with power sets. So I'm saying her fighting ability is now increased exponentially regardless of powers because she's been in so many fights.
Yeah, I get that.
If she's the bruiser that they call in every time to clear out the bar, she's going to do the same with little Betsy jumping around, trying to play like a ninja.
Well, she's not that much stronger than a dude. Because she's like, it's not like Betsy's like fragile. She's she's an assassin. She's a ninja.
Like, you've seen how Rogue is drawn. Like, she's definitely one of the most muscular women in the X-Men team. Like, okay. I feel like you're on credit. No, it just looks like all these rounds we're not going to be able to determine because we know our horses in the round. So basically, we're looking up to you three people out there. Who do you think would win in a Savage Land fight between Rogue and Psylocke? You heard
the 90s
2-1-2. Right, so. Clearly, it's Rogue, but you know.
Yeah, well, it's not.
Moving to the second round.
Round two, first appearances.
Okay, so
this is first
again. Which Psylocke is showing up?
This is before her body swap. This is before Captain.
So go ahead and make your case for this one.
Oh boy. No, but my whole thing is that she's gonna fuck with your head.
Sorry?
She's gonna fuck with your head because her first appearance, if we're talking first appearance, we'll talk power manifestation as well. So her original power of telepathy and things like that. Or not telepathy, but telepathy. She'll fuck with your head as much as she can.
She got to get to my head.
Yeah.
And if you're talking first iterations of Rogue, before she even knows how crazy it is, she's just touching everybody, not knowing how much she's taking from them. So like this is her at her most reckless and her most dangerous.
That's right.
So I feel once I figure out that you're a threat to me, and I'm coming close to you, you're fucked.
I guess it depends on how mentally strong or what Rogue's mental fortitude is like.
It also depends. Sorry, finish your thought there.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say it also depends how we make those first appearances fight. Because if they're both just juniors in high school, like this fight would start completely different than if they knew they were going to be X-Men kind of shit, right? Like
that's right. Yeah.
This could really a fight start over the wrong textbook in someone's class.
That's right.
You took my textbook, I took mine, and however the first blow is thrown could really determine who's gonna win.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, because the moment Betsy gets touched,
it's done.
Done, right? So, and this is back with
the moment Betsy looks at Anna Marie and
knows what's coming.
It's fucking with her mind. Like, you're never gonna get that Rogue.
Yeah, exactly. And that's she. I mean, she did survive like this against Sabretooth, who's more vicious than Rogue. Not at Rogue's first iteration versus Sabretooth. Don't throw
survivors into here. Like Rogue survived out some of the most powerful mutants in existence.
No, but I'm talking about I'm just talking about as this iteration. She had no powers except for her mind against the Sabretooth fight. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. I just want to frame this for, again, the three people listening at home. You guys are definitely going to let us know who's going to win in round 2. Again, it's Rogue. But to help you frame it, this is the first time they're meeting. Let's say they're both 16 and it's high school. It started off some very kind of high school, like stupid drama ways of starting fights. But obviously with these two having the power sets that they do, it escalated real fast. And obviously Rogue won. So. And let's go to round 3.
Round 3, current iteration.
This is the make or break.
See, this is funny because when we wrote this out, it was before the Dawn of X timeline.
And now that changes everything.
And now that changes everything.
Everything. Which is fucking amazing.
Yeah, because her very current iteration is she's Captain Britain. Betsy is Captain Britain. And Quanon is Psylocke.
A few issues ago, Rogue is like Rogue Apocalypse.
Yeah.
So, like, damn, which Rogue you want?
Yeah, but is she now? I don't.
Again, where do you put that now if you say current iteration?
Exactly. So it's, I guess, today.
Fuck right? You. Get the fuck out of here. I'm choosing Rogue Apocalypse for 100. Alex. She's the best.
We don't even know. Did she use? I don't remember if she used any Apocalypse powers. I thought she lost it once she came back to life.
She balanced the gate, and then helped deal out half of the fucking Outer World troops.
And then she lost it, right?
Well, she didn't need it anymore, so she kind of let it go.
She let it go.
Harkens back to her power set.
That's right.
And obviously, Gambit freaking out. She's like she don't want to fuck up that shit. But
okay, so right now it's Rogue.
No. Listen,
with her right now, current iteration is Rogue.
Choose through 6 different versions of Psylocke, and now we're talking current iteration fight.
Right.
And
today,
her iteration, because I'm on a issue before the one you're on. She's still Rogue Apocalypse. So Rogue Apocalypse, which is all the powers of Rogue and all the powers of Apocalypse. Put in that dolphin sound for me. Versus, actually, you could bring both Psylocks. I'll rate that. I think that works.
But she doesn't have the Apocalypse power anymore. That's what I'm saying. That's gone.
Listen.
If we're talking current iteration, we're talking about today.
No. We're talking about where I am, where I read Rogue the last. So you're allowed 2 Psylocks, for my one Rogue Apocalypse. You wouldn't want that fight? That's a good fight. Those are good odds.
Yeah, no, I'll take the fight. I'll take the odds, and I'll dust you with it. That's just how it happens. You got Excalibur on one side, and you got
tell everyone what they call me in the streets. Rogue Apocalypse. Okay. Rogue Apocalypse. That's the power set of Rogue and Apocalypse. I'm on my Delphin song. Okay.
That's right. Anybody reading Dawn of X, we've mentioned it so many times. Anybody reading that?
Well, you got that's the shit you do on your podcast. You got to plug the other shit on your channel, yo.
Yeah, absolutely. No. But Apocalypse has changed his name to dash bracket big letter A bracket dash.
Yeah, Dolphin Sound.
Is that what it is? So it sounds like it's like, oh hey. So fucking weird. 2-on-1, you're cooked, son.
That's where you go with that? Again, her name's Rogue Apocalypse.
Yeah, and she's done. Got Excalibur on one side, got a fucked up, angry assassin on the other side.
Keep making those butterfly wings and choosing between a sword and a chain. I will. We're leaving it up to you folks. Again, we're not doing it justice how much we enjoy the fact that these two are in the finals. So that's really why we don't want to pick a winner. We think they're both fucking winners. There's great runs that you should be reading by just these X-Men. Uncanny X-Men number 218, X-Men Legacy 233.
This is when they're together, right?
Messiah Complex is fucking great. Utopia has some good runs for Rogue. There's a lot of good shit for these characters out there. I'm pretty sure Coke's going to put up some highlight reels of where you want to see them the best and the most. But this is the first episode where we actually want your input on who you would believe would win, obviously, in these 3 rounds, and who do you think would win in our hero draft. So it's the first time we're trying to think or trying to show that you guys matter.
Yeah, both of you.
But, you know.
Nobody cares.